Welcome everyone. We are here on the third day of RadFest. This is a revolution against aging and death. We got about 900 people here today. Pretty amazing event. And I'm here with Dr. Ian White. This is one of our webinar series on what is aging, where we discuss what aging is, why we age, and how to eventually reverse it. Dr. Ian White is the founder and CEO of Neobiosis and has extensive experience in regenerative medicine, stem cells, and other areas of expertise. So really appreciate you taking the time today.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you.
Absolutely.
It's been a great event so far.
No,
You've been enjoying it?
Absolutely, it's been a fun time.
It's been great.
Yeah. So what is aging, and how do we age? Why do we age? What is your kind of perception on it?
So from our perspective at Neobiosis, we're focused on trying to understand how the body heals and why it doesn't heal when we get older. And through that work, we've discovered essentially the mechanism of why we age. And so we're founding this new institute. It's called the Space Aging Research Institute, where we're going to have a deep dive into the biology, the chemistry, and the physics of aging. And what it really comes down to is the accumulation of entropy. And what that means, for those who don't understand the physics of entropy, is that the universe is aging, and that's how we tell time. We started with a Big Bang, and we're moving towards the heat death of the universe. You know, that's trillions of years in the future. However, that's how we tell time, is the accumulation of entropy. And as living organisms, we're no different than anything else in the universe. We still accumulate entropy. The difference between living organisms and innate things like chairs and tables and cars is that we can shed entropy. Through time, we're able to accumulate the damage, the cross-linking, the glycation, the oxidation, the methylations that accumulate through time, but we're able to dump those out and replenish ourselves with low entropy food, and that's how we're able to maintain ourselves, instead of just rusting away and degrading. So the whole premise behind our research is understanding that mechanism of entropy dumping in order to stop and maybe even reverse aging.
That's a good analogy. I see. And I mean, how do you see, so entropy, is this similar to like the second law of thermodynamics?
That's exactly it. You got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So every chemical reaction moves in one direction. So you can't undo entropy. That's how, again, we tell time. So when you have a chemical reaction, you get a cross-link, you get a glycation event on a protein, which is a non-enzymatic reaction. And unless you can remove that glycation event, those proteins are cross-linked. That's why we get stiffer when we get older, because our collagen doesn't renew and replace as often as some of our other tissues. And so those events end up slowing us down and causing inflammation and causing pain and eventually aging. So through time, we accumulate that entropy. We're able to dump some of it, but as we get older, we lose that ability to shed entropy, and that's the topic of my presentation, and that's the subject of my book as well, that's coming out soon.
Oh, nice. Well, what's your book called?
It's called The Unified Theory of Life. And so the idea is I unify biology, chemistry, and physics to understand how physics influences biology, because really, you know, chemistry is the language of biology and physics is the language of chemistry. And so if we can understand those languages, then we can really get to the bottom of what aging is and what we can do as biologists to try to reverse it.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's a lot of physics for sure. And so in like the skin as an example, you know, you have like your extracellular matrix.
Yeah.
And so those cross-links I've heard are kind of hard to break as you age.
Yes.
How do you think we could go about reversing that from a skin perspective?
Yeah.
To look
So
younger?
there are a lot of great companies out there right now looking at ways to enzymatically remove those glycation events, and these companies are going to be very, very successful. If there are investors out there and they don't know about this space, definitely check out companies that are involved in glycation, because this is a big part of the future of this industry. But something we focus on at Neobiosis is using young tissues to treat old tissues. So when we're younger, we heal much easier and much better than we do when we're older. It's because we have the tools and the mechanisms to do that. And what's fascinating is you can take birth tissue like amniotic fluid and cord blood and cord tissue and use those tools that are available to the younger individual, transplant them to the older individual, and see the benefits. Right. So in the case of collagen in the face, we don't make the same collagens we did when we were babies. However, those collagens, or at least the messages, the RNAs for those collagens, accumulate in the amniotic fluid. And what's amazing is they're contained in these extracellular vesicles that are programmed through nature to deliver to cells the cargo. And that cargo can include the RNA to code for these young collagens. And so if we inject that into the face, the idea is that those exosomes, those EVs, can find the senescent or aging fibroblasts deliver the message, the RNA, for these young collagens. And theoretically, and that's what one of the things we're working on, is these cells should now be able to provide and produce young collagens again.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, so you get the amniotic fluid when the woman's, giving birth. You got that.
Full-term pregnancy. Yep.
Okay, and then you could inject it into the face. Would you combine it with like any peptides, or would you just purely do the fluid?
Yeah. So in aging and biology, just like anything else, there's no silver bullet. It's a combination effect. So if you're looking at regenerative medicine and ways to improve the health of individuals, what you've got to do is look at the whole system. Right? We're a very, very complex system. So we are chronically inflamed, typically. So anything you can do to remove inflammation from the body is also going to help regenerative medicine and slow down aging. So with the amount of sugar that we consume, all those glycation events, where again, the sugars cross-link the proteins and contribute to aging. If we can remove sugars from our diets, if we can enzymatically remove those events, if we can change the epigenetics of our genome that is constantly changing as we age, theoretically, it's possible, because there are species that exist right now that actually are able to uncouple biological aging and chronological aging. So they hold the secrets, and that's sort of where we need to start looking.
And it's very interesting now that we've sequenced an Immortal jellyfish 100%, and now that we can sequence 100% of our genome, now we have the map. And now the question is, how do we take that map and use these tools to take a 90-year-old and make them 21?
Yeah, it's very exciting. So when they sequenced Teratopsis dornii, they also sequenced a very close related jellyfish that is not immortal. And so they've got some really nice candidates for the genes that might be contributing to this ability of Teratopsis dornii, the immortal jellyfish, to continually renew itself and never age.
Okay.
Same sort of experiments can be done in lobsters and other species that don't age. So it's a very, very exciting time right now.
And so they can see in the genome the differences between them, the immortal one and the non. And in theory, you could use, say, CRISPR to alter the genes of the non-immortal one and turn it into an immortal one as an experiment.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's probably not going to be quite as easy as that, but that's the idea. We want to identify a group of genes, a set of genes, or a cluster that contribute directly to the ability to de-differentiate. So in 2012, Shinji Yakanama won the Nobel Prize for de-differentiating adult skin cells back to embryonic stem cell-like cells. And so the technology is getting there. We're very, very close to understanding ways to reverse time as far as human aging is concerned. So this is a great time to be in the field and a great time to be at an event like this.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's inevitable, and it's one of those things from our perspective. It seems that aging is a reversible process. I mean, we see it in certain species that just don't age, and they can literally revert back. However old that jellyfish is, they can reverse their aging. So we know it's possible. At that point, we say, well, it's a moral obligation for us to pursue it as quickly as possible.
Yeah, well, our motivation really is increasing the health span. So what we want to do is we want to try to eliminate those last 10, 20 years where people are morbid. Where they're wheelchair bound, or they're constantly under medical supervision, or popping all kinds of pills. We want to improve those final years of the life. But I think as a consequence of that, understanding how to improve those final years, we're going to actually extend the lifespan as well. So we're focused on the health span, but I think as a consequence, we're going to end up increasing the lifespan potentially as well.
That totally makes sense. Yeah, it's a very interesting area. No, definitely. Do you think there's any other areas within age reversal and regenerative medicine that are, I think this one's very important. Do you think there's any other ones that may be underlooked that our viewers should keep in mind to keep their eye on, or you think regenerative medicine is sort of the best of the best right now?
Yeah, well, what we've got to continue doing is asking the right questions. And so for a long time, there's been a lot of money pumped into longevity research, and I feel that they've been really asking the wrong questions. So if you're not asking the right questions, you can't get on the right path to find the answers. And we've sort of been a little bit stagnant in the research in this field for a while, but I think it's time for something new. And so at the Space Aging Research Institute, our idea there is to raise $2 million for a 2-year proof of principle research program to demonstrate that our ideas about how entropy contributes to the aging process and how we can potentially reverse that. I think that's the future, and that's why I'm putting all my effort right now, because I think that's where we're going to see the breakthroughs.
There's going to be something in physics, including quantum biology as well.
So actually there's a chapter in my book about the quantum entanglement theory and quantum mechanics, because it's all part of it. We can't understand biology if we don't understand the universe we're in. We're all energy. We're made of energy. If we look down to the smallest possible level, we'll see that we're just made of energy,
Absolutely.
waves,
Mostly
and
empty
particles.
space, and
Right.
just the particles are.
And so if you don't understand that, then you can't understand the macrobiology, and that's all we're looking at right now is the macrobiology. We've got to look down at the micro level to really understand how we exist in the universe, because we are part of this universe and we are aging like the universe, and if we don't understand that, there's no way we can understand the biology.
It is quite amazing, and we're the universe perceiving itself, which is sort of mind-boggling.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. That's a nice way of putting it.
I think the intersection of nanotechnology and quantum biology will eventually lead to a cure for aging, but we need these enabling technologies like the ones you're working on. So appreciate all the hard work you're putting in on that.
No, it's my pleasure. This is a passion. We hope we get some support or continued support from the viewers there, because we can use the help. The more money, the more donations we have, the faster we can work. If we can prove the principle, then we can take it to the next level, and that's the idea. That's what we're here for today.
Awesome. So you guys are raising capital too, in a traditional sense? Or?
Yeah, we're taking donations. So the
okay.
SARI, the Space Aging Research Institute, is a 501c3. So we're taking donations to help us get going there and see what kind of products we can develop.
Very nice. Well, great job. Really appreciate
the time.
Dr. Greenwhite.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
No, thank you.